Breathe.
You have to have an answer because you cannot just let Breathe run rampant like Godzilla across the map, because he has been able to do that in a lot of cases. I know early in the split he was playing a little bit more tanky matches, especially when the Skarner was there. He was playing that one a decent amount as well. But here is that priority on the misfortune I talked about. So the Wombo combo setup has been initiated by NIP.
Shanji looking towards that Twisted Fate top lane, looking towards something which can maybe deal with the Renekton. He has been a big TF player and it can help him get that advantage. The Kennen has been his answer before. Thing is, last time we saw him play the Kennen as the Renekton, it was against Ala's Renekton, and he got smashed.
Yeah.
So Shanji needs to step up. The burden is on him. You cannot afford to lose top lane matchups like this. The Kennen is a winning matchup unless you lose one kill early or one good gank comes through. Tarzan, if he goes for a hyper gank or something which can affect the top lane, Renekton and Italy, Shanji might be putting himself into the top lane experience. Wouldn't surprise me to see this locked in.
And I love that we get this matchup between the two top laners, because you also have to remember, you know, way back in the day, it was actually Shanji who came in to fill the void of Breathe moving off of OMG, which I always find interesting. It is a little bit far back in the past, maybe not as relevant, but I always find those kinds of things very fun. Now we do get the Lucian locked in, as well as we'll see what the AP choice is going to be here for Weibo. It's the Nidalee for Tarzan, a classic.
So, Tarzan has been on great form. Nidalee is a team pick, though, and a lot of the time we have to hand out a Nidalee pass. In the same way we have to hand out a Corki pass earlier in the year or the Renekton pass right now. Not many people have made the Nidalee look like it is really strong. A lot of the time you can just about end up winning with it, but have you really been the reason you've won? Tarzan might just be able to do that with Breathe on this Renekton. It's a great combo. You need to find an extra point of setup. You should be getting Xiaohu onto one of his comfort champions, which can potentially push out that mid lane too. That will very much help Tarzan have some impact on the game.
Aki going to have a lot of support thrown his way, though, now with an anchor added into the fold, as Zhuo will be on the Nautilus. Really nice pickup there to give them at least a bit of say in the setup and try to layer these CC stuns to get the Wombo combo alive for Photic. It is a bit of the Vi focus to take away some of those tools against NIP by Weibo.
So Aki typically has gone towards the Vi and that Sejuani, the engage, bruiser, tank stuff, not the AP carries. So Weibo choosing not to remove, I mean, if they think that the Lucian just beats the Corki, you don't have to remove Rookie's Corki if you don't think that, but it is still Rookie on Corki. Do you think there's another valuable pick to take away from Aki? Do you want to take away something like the Shin Sao? Do you want to take away something which can bring it a little bit more engaged? Again, Lee Sin could also be there too as a skirmisher. Could potentially be the takeaway. Viego, if you want to go towards something like Tattoo. The Wukong also on that list. Aki really getting hit in his champion pool. And one thing that you were really passionate about speaking about, and I completely agree, Aki cannot afford to get shut out in this jungle matchup. You now suddenly are against a Nidalee with setup in that top side, and you've had a lot of your choice junglers removed.
I mean, you're going to have push all over the place for Weibo, and that's going to make it so easy to play as a little bit of an aggressive, maybe invade style from Tarzan, known for his very interesting brain meld pathing here in the jungle. We'll see the Lee Sin as the answer right now. Another classic for Aki.
So that Lee Sin, maybe able to just protect his lanes a little bit from that Nidalee. The first rank of Safeguard can be very, very important when you're looking for those first ganks of the game. So Lee Sin can be aggressive, can also be a bit more defensive too, with the ability to get into those plays. So Ezreal has made his way through the draft as well. When you've got the Misfortune Nautilus, very strong lane. You potentially just want to safely farm up. Weibo, it could have gone towards the Ezreal, instead going towards the Senna instead. So the Senna brings some extra CC, allows you to play weak side bot side, so you can play strong side top lane as well into Breed's Renekton. They go towards the typical Jacket of Mako bot lane of the Senna on, and I think what they're realistically wanting to do, bring teamfight engage with that, but also allow this bot lane to play on an island if they can, and then try and play towards this Renekton very, very heavily.
They are going to dip back into that well. Obviously, yeah, we played that one already in the Rumble stage here, but it just plays so well towards the rest of the map, towards the top trio. And that's exactly where Weibo are looking to strike here as we do get the final lock in. It's the Azir for Rookie. Gonna have a little bit of stability in the mid lane, but a pick we haven't seen very much here recently.
And it's not the Corki. So, Rookie sees the Lucian from Xiaohu and says, okay, alright, Lucian does pretty well into Corki, you can hop over that Frost Bomb. Let's have something which can maybe deal with Lucian better into that late game. Because Lucian, when he tries to jump forward Azir later into the game. If he jumps into the soldiers, he has a pretty bad time. So Xiaohu having to investigate a different matchup into the Azir can also participate in part of the engage combo as well with those aggressive Shurima shuffles. See if he can impact that game. It's been a little while since we've seen Azir rear its head in the LPL meta. Besides, you know, a couple of players like Cream picking it up, it has realistically been 80 carries in the mid lane, Rookie bringing out a classic for himself.
Everything can go fine and dandy in the lanes, but again, we always circle back to what the jungle has in store for us here. Aki cannot be falling down in pressure around the map against Tarzan because he will just stranglehold the map from you. Weibo have been a bit of a pleasant surprise, if not maybe an inconsistent one here in the Rumble stage, as is tradition, but NIP have consistently found heartbreak as they have come to Summoner's Rift. They're 0-2. They cannot start this Rumble stage 0-3. We're in their home arena now to kick off our final best of 3 of the night. We're in Shenzhen, and those Zhuos are going to need to invigorate this squad. The question will remain, what can this team do if they don't have Rookie carrying? Somebody else has to step up to the plate, and we'll see if that's on the table tonight. As the skybox hits, it is Weibo versus NIP. Love to see everybody getting very enthusiastic here.
I heard a Rookie Zhuo in there for the single player. Someone really gunning for their favorite player.
Hey, one of my favorites
would you do that for
so
Shun? Would you do that for Shun if you're in the crowd for him? Right.
Oh,
yeah,
absolutely. You'd hear me 10 times. My voice is very loud if you haven't noticed.
Yeah, no, I remember that. Yeah, I believe it or not, Cas beside you a couple of times as well. I'm aware of the volumes you can reach. And at least some of the fans showing their own vocal capacity as well. So let's have a think about this early game and what we're going to get from these junglers. Tarzan doesn't have anyone who's really going to walk in with him at level 1 to start messing around with Lee Sin. You don't really want to walk into a Lee Sin at level 1 anyway. You typically do that against the Zyra or your brands, but not really this. So Tarzan starting on bot side, going to go towards top side early. Shanji, if he can get himself a good enough trade early to make sure that Breathe isn't going to get himself like an easy kind of early lane setup with a lot of HP, that might save his lane. You do notice that Breathe has gone for the pressed attack. If he gets an empowered W on top of that Nidalee Spear, that is a very dead cannon if Tarzan finds his way into that top lane. And it feels like the draft is telegraphing top lane pressure from Weibo, whether that is through lane dominance or the Nidalee ganks.
Nice little trades on bot side. You have to be very careful what the misfortune damage is like early, especially with the double ups. Love taps. Now, they will need to hold on for life's breath, at least in bottom side. Light and Crisp going to have a bit of trouble if they take too many heavy trades.
Breathe trying to get himself as much XP from this early wave and trying to get himself into a decent lane stay. The wave is going to be held outside his turret right now. He wants to clip it so it's not an easy crash for Shanji. If Shanji gets a wave crash, then he can back off and get a reset. You can already see that Tarzan gunning towards top side. Aki went top to bot. He can maybe go and reset and go towards his Krugs on that top side, just so he can kind of hover top at the next kind of phase after his after he returns back towards there. But he's not going to be a top side for the first possible gank opportunity from Tarzan. Shanji does have a ward in that river, but it does feel like that's a telegraph ward. If Tarzan can hop over the back of the pit, maybe there's a chance that he can get himself an angle anyway.
I see Aki taking a very interesting path at this point. Going to be probably going back up towards topside. He still has his Krugs available. A little bit of push, though, in mid lane from Weibo. They did lose their priority in topside, but at least Weibo will be able to play around this mid lane as Xiaohu stepping up.
Xiaohu has massively stepped up on this pick, and you know what? It's quite easy to forget that Xiaohu was a top laner, by the way, and won MSI as a top laner. You know what he was really... Well, of course you'll know about this. He was the Lucian player in top lane. This is the pick which he was doing. He played stuff like Syndra top too, don't get me wrong, but the Lucian top lane was part of his real golden era of Xiaohu. So the fact that he's picked up this again in the mid lane this time can really, really help his team potentially find some strength in mid lane, which they had been missing before. Xiaohu's year has been awful, to put it bluntly. So the fact that he's found a pick which he is looking stronger on, very, very important. Aki first into top lane though, and Tarzan looking mid lane instead, not able to get in towards top side, maybe just worried about walking over vision.
Sneaky, sneaky. He does get spotted out. Maybe it's in enough time. Breathe gonna burn the flash just in case. Didn't want to get locked down by Shanji.
Shanji, good early trading, getting rid of that flash from Breathe. Breathe is getting good access to farm. He's not been getting zoned out of that Tarzan. There is no setup here, but if he finds an unexpected spear, anything could happen. Maybe potentially looking at Rookie. Oh my god, that is pixels off!
What? Oh, that literally like went over the body of Azir. Nicely calculated by Rookie in the end. That Tarzan was looking at that mid lane after taking the invade up there. We'll see both junglers wrapping back around towards this bot side though. The scuttle does have a contest written all over it, as Aki doesn't want to give over double.
Tarzan looking to stack up that Conqueror.
That's a
goes
cougar.
in.
You gotta be careful, those cougar claws sink deep. I told you, you can't turn your back to a cougar. It'll come away a little bit bloody, and Aki learns that lesson.
The thing is, Double Scuttle's going to come through for Tarzan, so he's ahead in the individual jungle matchup, and it means that Aki can't just walk through River. It means that Zhuo can't walk through River in the same way. The problem with this, the opportunity cost for getting Tarzan ahead is Breathe falling a bit behind in this top lane matchup, which you do expect when the cannon is left alone versus the Renekton. You have to press the attack on the Renekton, very good at bursting out these ranged top laners, so you don't really get to have extended trades to get value out of the Conqueror with. The sooner Tarzan can get into that lane, the better. Maybe Light can also roam towards that top lane too, and be that kind of roaming center, which doesn't necessarily gank, but just turns up to a lane and helps you push out.
I'd love to see Zhuo getting out on the map. This is exactly what I wanted to see from the draft and from the get-go for this guy. Just being active out on the map is going to help Aki a lot in this jungle matchup itself. Now Dragon is spawned, Grubs on the other side. Pings coming out from NIP towards the Grubs to start.
So NIP, they know that Shanji has teleport. He hasn't used his teleport just yet. Breeze stops that recall, and he will get himself that cannon. Alright, I was wondering if he missed that one. So, Shanji, good CS lead in this top side. You want to hold on to that. Shanji can very much be team fight menace in this one. Chris gets himself a good knock up there, but doesn't have level 6 to do the Mako solo kill, which we have seen so many times in this one, weirdly. Also important to note that when Shanji comes into these plays, watch what Crisp is packing in these fights too, because he has that spell, but he can get the exhaust for one big fight. He's not here though. Shanji has flash. There's no exhaust for him. He could potentially turn this fight, so Weibo needs to turn tail.
Rookie has the Shurima Shuffle available to him. Weibo end up stealing away the 3 Grubs there. Now Xiaohu stepping up and dash away as the root did come down on the Aki, but NIP can't really get much on the map. There will be the Grubs to fight for the next time around though.
Yeah, 3 Grubs over to Weibo. Dragon still alive on the bot side. No one has really paid attention to that one just yet because of the double scuttle made things a lot easier for Tarzan to approach these plays. Level 6 from Breed, gonna pull it in early.
Gonna pop both ultis up here, just give some tenseness to the situation. Also had Aki pathing up this way, but he's gonna go back to red.
Yeah, Breathe. You can tell, you can tell he's struggling with the Renekton against the cannon, but what he is doing is he's making sure that he can use his HP bar or use that ultimate, because he's not looking to fight the cannon, he's looking to save his lane state. Because if cannon gets to zone you out, then you're in trouble. He has himself tier 2 boots already. If you get yourself kind of soft frozen out underneath that turret, where Shanji can kind of like look to deny you half a wave, a couple of waves of CS, even at worst case scenario, that's when the matchup becomes pretty unplayable for the Renekton. He's within touching distance for now. 10 CS is an acceptable loss for Renekton versus the cannon. Sad for them that they haven't managed to get that Renekton Nidalee combo activated early on though. The vision control from NIP now being helped out by Zhuo and Aki towards this top side has really helped NIP not fall prey to Tarzan in a ganking sense. Even though they're losing farm, they're not losing kills, and that's okay for now.
For now. You definitely want to keep a little bit of an eye on that one though, but the entrances are going to be very easy if NIP can keep their heads above water, right? They have a huge wombo combo that's pretty simple to pull off, and a lot of follow-up from Rookie as well. There is going to continue to be a presence by Tarzan in the enemy jungle here, with Crisp and Light coming to reinforce him as well.
Tarzan is really, really strong still. Still early game Nidalee. You cannot afford to disrespect that. Shanji doesn't have teleport, so he won't be joining. You have Ornal, and you don't quite have Sentinel. Sadly, Weibo would love to have that for one of these first big fights.
Zhuo also pretty far off of his ultimate. Really want that depth charge to secure a lot of the CC chains there. Dragon still not going to be the focus yet by either side, as Weibo were just looking for pressure. I feel like they might just be fine with that one, not giving any stacking objectives over to NIP.
Dragons have not been the focus of this game. When you have really volatile lanes, we saw this in BLG Top Esports yesterday too. When you have volatile lanes, you start noticing the time you need to spend on Dragon more and more. Sometimes we'll see this, because we had a conversation about this on cast yesterday too. We'll see this sometimes when it comes between 2 and 3 grubs. The difference between 2 and 3 grubs is the time taken rather than actually any benefit you get. You don't get much from the third one, so sometimes you'll see people dropping behind. Aki's going.
Oh, Aki, delivery service there. As Chris gonna look to get the unstoppable there. Can't get the combo off in the end. They do get the bullet time out of Photic. Tarzan was on his way, hits a spear, gets the Cougar Claws in, and that's a kill for Xiaohu, who has come down from mid lane to clean house, and another spear connects. NIP tried to go for the dragon, and they get their hand chewed off.
Shanji.
He's
the
in a
ult.
little bit of
Think he should be
trouble
able to get away
here.
from this. No flash left from Breathe. Can he catch up?
Okay, just a little bit worried. Everybody's missing on the map. Some redeploys were coming through from NIP. Breathe will pull off. Dragon secured by Weibo. They have 100% neutral objective control so far.
I really hope we get a replay of that last fight, by the way, because I feel really bad for Aki. Really smooth mechanics. Tarzan fails to jump over the wall and gets the kill anyway, while Aki gets the flash kick, awesome, blah, 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 and doesn't get anything for it. It feels like there's a bit of a disadvantage in the early game when you play against a Nidalee when you've got this much base damage. It's a little bit unfair, but all the same, Weibo walk away with an important kill. Xiaohu's the one that picks it up too. We know that Lucian is also a pretty snowbally mid laner and wants to get decent amount of gold in, doing well in that laning phase versus Rookie so far. I mean, just even in farm, that's okay. Getting that cull stacked up, getting that first kill means that Xiaohu should hopefully get towards that point where 1-2 item Lucian can be a big threat in team fights.
Maybe we're moving over for this one. They want to secure Grubageddon. You have Aki in position around here. Shanji not going to have slicing nails from those, so he doesn't really have the impact you want from him, and they are just going to give this one up. So that'll be Grubageddon secured by Weibo.
So, Weibo are going to get themselves all 6 grubs, so batten down the hatches. We're getting a lot of those mites spawning, but Weibo need to actually hit towers. I think Light is going to be quite important in regards to this, because I think if Light turns up to a lane and makes one into a 2v1 and just plays ranged with someone else, can be important. Here is the replay. Look, Aki, fantastic mechanics, gets the maximum range insect kick onto Light, and they don't get the kill. Great mechanics, gets the best kick he could in that scenario, and they don't get anything for it. Tarzan lands a spear, misses the W over the wall, still gets the kill anyway. The difference in mechanics doesn't matter. The Nidalee is just better in the early game, I guess. Tarzan rewarded for that, I suppose.
Oh, that feels so bad for Aki. Best laid plans of mice and men. Cougars come out on top every time, it feels like. Now, also,
yeah, that's
Tarzan.
the third. It's not just of mice and men, it's of mice, men, and cougars. It's the third bit that people forget.
It's a continuation. You know how they say you only get half the picture, you know, for the quote most of the time? You get the rest of the sentence there. They also add in Tarzan is the jungle goat, I guess. I don't know. He's actually had a really interesting last series of weeks, at least, for Weibo. It feels like he's taken a lot more of the resources under his own belt a lot of the time, even though we're still seeing him play a lot of facilitation. It's been a breath of fresh air where I was still so confused that we weren't seeing this guy in the league last split.
Yeah, I mean, so a lot of people would have looked at that last series that LNG had versus T1 at Worlds last year and said, okay, well, you know, Tarzan got blown out of the water. What is this guy? If you hadn't watched this guy regionally, I could understand that to an extent, because that was a pretty bad series. Tarzan has been exceptional at a regional level in the LPL for a while. His playoffs weren't always great. He had a bit of a reputation as a choker because he couldn't quite get those real clutch moments. Tarzan is going to find Aki. Oh, that's a lot of damage. Aki needs to back off now. But no, Tarzan, I think last year, particularly getting towards that summer finals as well and taking JDG to 5 games, really started to shake off some of those shackles. Shame that it came back a little bit in that World's quarterfinals versus C1. The fact that he wasn't playing in spring, it was a disaster for the league in so many ways because he is so good at what he does. Another spear lands, and you can tell that he's just using this early game power to get the most out of it.
He did end up moving a couple different lane assignments around as a whole. Actually, it was NIP who were trying to get a bit of a move for Photic and Zhuo up towards top side. They redeploy now, and they brought Photic towards mid. All that pressure in bot side gets backed from by Weibo. They actually got the Leandries completed here for Tarzan.
We've seen a lot more of this from the Nidalee. If you go towards that Horizon focus, you get that kind of ability to get a little bit more tanky a little earlier. I feel like the Lich Bane build is still very, very viable. I never really got a conclusive reason as why we got the Liandry's into Horizon Focus build over the Lich Bane, because it was the Lich Bane into the Liandry's. It's not like you're missing out on Liandry's by going that Lich Bane first, but it does mean you are a little bit more tanky because of the HP component in that Liandry's, which can sometimes be the difference between you getting picked off by a Nautilus Flash ult or something like that or not.
Mm-hmm. And those are the kinds of things you have to watch out for in this one, because it is going to be very close-knit, at least until we get a big lead bursted open. But right now it's just about 1,000 gold in favor of Weibo, and that's where we can, you know, start looking at a little bit of the setup for either side. We've said it from the beginning. In IP, with the way they've drafted their composition, they are looking to have huge setups around objectives. Meanwhile, Weibo are fine to kind of pick and move in regards.
Especially at this point in the game where they have double global, well, a global in the center, a semi-global in the Ornn ultimate, and they have this Nidalee who's an absolute wrecking ball. Weibo, can they force a play? They're going for a cross map. They are ignoring the Herald. They want to kill Shanji.
We've got the a little bit of a play here with the Slicing Maelstrom. Going to clear the wave as well. And they get the TP out of Rookie to try to save that. Now we got the play on bot side. Zhuo using his best Spider-Man instincts to get away. They do have the long range, though, to lock him out. Chris, with the help of Light over the top, is going to get that one. As now Aki looking to mid lane to try to punish here. Tarzan will back away. Now Photic locked down, and it's trouble coming his way. And that's a 20-foot leap from a Cougar. And those Cougar claws again find blood. And it's smelling all over Summoner's Rift at this point. Weibo running away with this one. 2,000 gold now.
Oh, the switcheroo from Weibo was fantastic. Yeah, the Herald's up, so they end up forcing bot lane, and that leaves open a gap in mid lane as well. NIP were behind the play. They're behind the playmaking in mid lane from the double big ultimates from the center Ornn, and it feels like Weibo have just blown up in this game. They have the 6 grubs. When you make mistakes on the map, grubs make it that much easier to punish. They take a full turret. Xiaohu's very happy with that one. He is going to get aggressed on by Zhuo coming down here, but I don't think there's much of a continuation of this play. So Weibo walk away with a massive, massive win.
And Tarzan has been the main driving force so far of that on this Nidalee. Time and time again, those big spears. Dragon is started up by NIP, though, on the other side of the map. Shanji, he just can't catch a break.
Oh, he doesn't have ulti either.
He has the flash this time. Doesn't have the Slicing Maelstrom, though, and he immediately gets just obliterated by Xiaohu.
That is very, very bad news for NIP. And I can't say we haven't seen this before against anyone's legend. Ala on the Renekton also did a similar thing with his team where they just keep putting this cannon on the weak side, even though it's a winning matchup. As soon as other people come to the cannon's lane, it becomes that much worse. And suddenly, Shanji dies under that bot, well, he has to back up from that bottom turret, dies under the top turret. 3 turrets now gone in a fell swoop from Weibo as they take bot lane outer, and then both top lanes in the top lane. Both towers in the top lane. Words are hard. It's been a lot of games.
They are hard. Yeah, you know, a lot of games, even if it's a short run, a lot of games in back-to-back fashion. Now, it is still a pretty hefty lead gained by Weibo. They did end up losing that dragon on the other side of the map to NIP, but they'll take a Rift Herald. They made a lot more options to try to crash down this mid-outer. That's the last remaining outer turret for NIP.
And you know what? When you lock in a Renekton Nidalee, you need to make things work early. We are now sat at a 5,000 gold lead at 17 minutes. They have made it work early. Good stuff from Weibo. You know, Weibo are a team which we have learned to not expect much from them consistently. We know that they will occasionally show us these fantastic games, but it's just trying to show that at this kind of level on a more consistent basis. They've now had a couple of really good early games strung together between multiple series. And, you know, this is just not the best positioning from NIP. You've just teleported towards bot side. You're against these double ultimates, which can be a big problem. And they walk up way too far in mid lane. Photic and Zhuo, I think they get lost a little bit in the strategic macro that was happening. Weibo open up that gap in the mid lane and pounce.
Literally. Did you know that a cougar, it leaps 20 feet. That's
I heard you say that.
Yeah.
You said that in the last place. Like, oh, it's a 20-foot leap for a cougar. I'm like, is that true? That's like,
that's insane, right? You said the champion was unfair. It's unfair on Summoner's Rift, and it's unfair in real life. I think a lot of animals will agree.
Did you know that antelope can jump higher than an average house? I mean, antelopes have really strong legs, and also houses can't jump.
You got the house there. I don't know what else to say. No defense.
I gotta get that one in. Yeah, I need that one. That's my fun fact. I hope you enjoyed that one.
I love to see it. Well, hey, at least NIP are maybe learning how to deal with Cougars, as I once had to. I also want to see a continuation of this proactivity from Weibo, because I think that has been the question that I'd love to see in a lot of these situations where they are in an advantage. Yeah. I think the decisiveness from them has been a breath of fresh air, and it leads off the lot of Tarzan and Xiaohu. And
it's like, the big thing for me with Weibo right now is that they're making decisive plays one after the other, and they have fallbacks, and they're playing across the entire map. It's not just one big power play, it's across the map. Breathe has himself a teleport, he can respond to a play, he's ahead of the cannon by so much gold. We said that Shanji, there was a lot of burden on him. The fact that he has allowed Breathe to get ahead and his team has not protected him on the side lane, he's also not played well around that side lane either, means that NIP don't necessarily have the carry threat that they need to in this cannon. And we come back to that question. What happens when Rookie isn't carrying? Well, Rookie is currently 1.6k behind to Xiaohu, who's been gifted a million tower gold. And you have Shanji, who's also behind. Who's going to carry at all from NIP?
Yeah.
Okay, Rookie might get himself a combo, but I wouldn't want to go sliding into a Renekton. That feels like it is dangerous. Going into melee range of a Renekton is probably death.
Yeah, I'd say there's a lot of track record in going melee range with a crocodile equals death. As the tradition of continuing to talk about animals continues off, Photic gonna have to flash away from the call of the Forge God of Chris.
I think Chris maybe thought the rest of the team went through the river brush. I don't know why he positioned the first part of it like that. Well, whatever. Ult for flash, we'll still take the good trade, but that was a little bit sus. We'll call that one. I mean, I normally save this for the Silas stealing the Ornult. That was a call of the forgery god. I don't think that was the real one.
Oh my goodness. Love to hear it. The problem is now, though, as I think the elephant in the room needs talking about, is you're down about 5,000 gold. There is objectives starting to spawn up. Luckily, you've been able for NIP to even those dragons up, so you're not necessarily in a desperate regard there, but you definitely need to find the setups for these team fights for yourself, but the gold lead's making that very difficult.
And that's the big thing. You're not winning the side lanes now, which is huge. And you're not winning the side lanes, and you also have to respond to every lane because there are 6 grubs. You have so little room for maneuver from NIP. You haven't got the early dragons. There is one spawning right now, but even then, it's not like that soul point, which could give you better macro options to set up for those team fights. Rookies at 2 items, that is powerful, but even then, you are still very far behind what this Lucian can do. NIP, they might go and try and solo out that dragon, but if Aki's the one staying to do that, then Weibo are going to start forcing this down. Breathe is on the flank, he pushed in the side lane. He is very, very dangerous.
Again, NIP are dangerous in this position as well, but they have to have all of their members on board. Weibo pull the pressure over. Aki actually stopped that dragon. So they've, honestly, Weibo have done a really good job of pulling NIP across the map this game.
Yeah, so what's happening there is Aki goes down to the dragon, Weibo try and pull him away by going to the Baron, NIP threaten mid, so that means we get a bit of a reset. Weibo tried again, Aki is here now, so he will be here in the fight, but Breathe is unseen. Shanji's on the side, he's getting blocked out by Breathe. The Renekton is so strong that the Renekton can't find his own angle into the fight, and there's no teleport wards for Shanji. It's not like he's got himself a great flank angle. NIP, they're trying to stop Weibo doing the dragon, doing the Baron, so they can push mid lane and force Weibo off the Baron. This is why we're seeing so much fighting around this wave. Weibo wants to protect their mid lane out of turret, but they don't want to allow NIP going towards the dragon at the same time.
Third time's the charm. They are hovering over the Baron. See if they want to return to that one. Shanji is coming back out. Oh, Rookie. He's stepping up. Will be under vision. Trying to spot out if they are doing the Baron. Is a little bit of a move now with the Call of Forge God. Breathe is found the flank. Breathe onto Photic now as well. Dawning Shadow across the Tarzan has eliminated the most important priority. Now Shanji has found the engage on the Tarzan, but the healing from the Primal Surge. The double knockup from Chris, and Tarzan's still alive. Now Xiaohu with the double guns will go blazing as Weibo a 7-0 kill lead and a massive gold advantage will turn to the big purple worm.
Weibo keep pulling NIP to the Baron, and Shanji doesn't have the gold. Aki is now looking for a steal. That is the only thing they've left to play for.
He's using him to get in, but he gets denied. Oh, they're going to go over the wall now, and Aki's just dead. Xiaohu puts him down, and there's the Baron for Weibo. A clean game from them, and now almost 9,000 gold in the lead.
They are deathless right now. Compare this Weibo to the start of summer, to the start of groups. It is night and day. We know that Weibo are all over the place. They can show us some incredible games, they can show us some terrible ones. They've been pulling NIP across the map. Rookie has himself that shuffle, so he is safe to walk up to the start of it. Photic has no flash. He's not. Breathe is still on the flank, and the backline is under threat from NIP. Shanji gets an ultimate, but he is so anemic. He has given up so much in this game through the side lane that he can't even kill this Nidalee with a full charge of his ultimate. Tarzan gets the heal for himself, and then Light, he dies. Shanji just can't carry these team fights. We asked him to see if he could get enough. That is 6,000 damage from a cannon. If he'd had that little... I know it seems harsh asking him. If he wasn't behind 2,000 gold, he probably kills everyone there, and Weibo can't win that fight. But it's just not the case.
And a little thing there, Light actually steps up to take the shuriken. A massive amount of damage going his way, but that might have actually just been enough to clean up Tarzan. But the teamwork right now from this Weibo roster has been absolutely impressive. Now engaged from Triz. Trying to get this tier 2 tower down here with the Baron buff. There is the Shanji TP flank. The flangle has been pulled off. He's going in, but he gets immediately taken away. I couldn't even see it. You blink and you miss. And now Weibo, they're trying to collapse over here. Xiaohu has the flank, and this is fish in a barrel, man. And they're eating good tonight. Weibo, absolutely clean house. And this is almost a perfect game for Weibo. And that is the consistently inconsistency that we've seen from this team.
The rat goes splat. The cannon can't make the difference, and NIP are shocked and awed by Weibo on form. They crushed through this first game. It just goes to show it does not matter what happened in groups. 0-2 versus NIP in groups, taking the first win here in the all-important Ascension group.
No way. Only the turrets, the dragons. That's the difference. And this is why I think this Weibo team, when we've seen them at their highest of highs, especially in this Rumble stage, has been such a wonderful surprise in a lot of ways, because the way they were able to pull macro a lot of the times has been very clean. You'd expect so from a lot of these veterans, even if sometimes maybe that goes to the wayside.
That play around the Herald and then also the Baron after, so they were playing around the sidelines to open up an option somewhere else. They were teleporting somewhere, not to get the kill there, but to open up something else on the map. Wonderful stuff coming in from Weibo. Much higher map play than we've seen from them so far. I need to see this continue, but I'm happy to see this kind of gameplay from them.
And I think the underlying issue is Aki could not get choked out. Unfortunately, Tarzan takes full advantage of that jungle in game 1. We'll see that the bounce back is in store for us here as NIP go on to game 2 with renewed vigor. We'll be back after a short break.